How's it going, everybody? This is BeatTheBush. Today I'm going to talk about the strategy you can use in order to complete large tasks. People call me a robot all the time, and I've been known to complete tasks really quickly, and people are like, man, how do you do so many things at the same time in parallel? It's seemingly that I'm able to complete a lot more things than a normal person does, I guess. Now, I'm not going to say it's going to be easy because completing a large task is indeed a lot of work. But a lot of times, really large tasks might be a little bit overwhelming and might cause you to freeze up. If I envision myself trying to complete it all at once, I sort of feel in this panic mode where, oh no, I can't do it all at once. So the method here is really just divide and conquer, and everybody really knows this already. Sometimes you can't just divide things equally and just do each one that you want to do. There's usually an order at which you have to do something, and sometimes there are gating items that you have to do before you do another task. My recommendation here is really just to divide all your tasks into subtasks, including dependencies. And whenever you work on something, just don't look at any other part of the task. Just look at the really small item that you need to do, and don't even think about going on to the next item. Just look at that tiny little bit and do that first. Now here's an example of a breakdown of one single task. For example, I want to install this motion yard lamp that turns on whenever there's motion. And you can see here, I've broken it into various steps where you can't really go on to the next phase until you do the first two things. Right here, you have to find enough time to look at the lamp instructions, and you also need to get a ladder if you don't have one already. You have to have both of these before you can go and put your ladder in the correct place and inspect the area just to give it a survey before you actually do the actual install. Then after you do the initial survey, you're going to design the way that you're going to install the item. This you might actually think about it a little bit, which way you want to face the lamp, if you want it to be a little bit higher up or whatnot. And then after you're done designing it, then you actually do the installation. You might imagine if you lump all this into one single task, just install the motion sensitive lamp, it might be a little daunting because you're like, where do you start? All this stuff will go through your head. Oh, you gotta do the lamp, you gotta inspect the area, all these stuff. But if you write it out into this chart form where there are things that's dependent on it, you can go, oh yeah, okay, today I'm gonna spend some time looking at the instructions first before even tackling trying to install it at all. I'm just going to look at the instructions and nothing more. Another day you can go to the hardware store and actually buy the ladder beforehand. You don't have to actually do all this in the same day. You can separate it into tiny little tasks. And then after you do all these, it's gonna be waiting here. Then you are ready to inspect the area. You see how when you break these down into little chunks of pieces, it's a lot easier to digest. And over here is another example, a daunting task of fixing a washing machine that I personally have never done before myself. So the number one thing I did is research on YouTube on how to exactly fix this. I looked at the problem that my washer is actually having, and I figured out that, yeah, perhaps I can actually fix it after watching several videos. Then you see how this is sort of like a chain of dependencies here. If you do not do one thing, you cannot do the other. The next dependency comes in where there's a bunch of clutter in front of the washing machine. Because it's broken, perhaps it hasn't been used for a really long time. So I had a lot of stuff in front of it, and in order to access the washing machine, you actually have to clean all this out, and this takes time in itself. It may take maybe half an hour or 1 hour. So this is a thing that locks you in from actually accessing the washing machine so that you can fix it. Do not sidestep this because this is actually a task that you actually have to do involving trying to fix the machine. You have to go and do other things in order to access the washing machine. After you clean everything up, you don't actually have to go and open the washing machine right away. If the task takes a really long time, maybe there's so much junk in front of it that there's like a whole room of junk in front of the washing machine that maybe it'll take you a whole day to do it. But after you do this, you let it sit alone, and then another day you can actually go to the washer and actually open it up and investigate if that is the exact problem that you see, and maybe correlate it with the YouTube videos that you see if it's the same exact problem. And perhaps if you need to buy certain parts in order to do the fixing. In my case, I had to open this tension spring thing that had about 150 pounds of pressure on it. And I used these little long screws. You take one out, put another one in that's longer, and then you slowly release all the screws one turn at a time so that all of it comes out in parallel. Because there's a lot of tension there, you have to slowly release it. You don't really want to just open one side, it's gonna pop open and kind of destroy itself. Finally, once you know how to do this, you actually fix the washer itself, which involved me epoxying the brake pads that's internal to that thing. You see, all of this might actually require a little bit of handyman work. However, I'm just using this as an example of any large task that you have. Just list it out in the order of dependencies, no matter how small they are. The smaller the better, because then you can just take it as a chunk and work on it and ignore the rest for now, which will allow you to, get a little bit of momentum in completing these really large tasks that you have. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and helps you guys tackle larger tasks easily. If you're interested in supporting my channel, don't forget to check out my Audible link down in the video description below, where you can get a free audiobook. And if you don't like the audiobook or the service, you can cancel it before the trial period ends, and you can still keep the audiobook and you can still help benefit this channel. You can also try out this 30-day free trial for Gamefly down below, where it's kind of like a Netflix thing for video games. You can borrow a game for 30 days for free, and if you cancel before the trial period ends, you won't owe a thing, and you can still try out this game for free, basically. I also have a Patreon over here, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.